The killings rippled outward like a stain. Villages that had never woken to screams found themselves burying neighbors. Markets emptied, lanes fell silent, and even travelers avoided the roads where once they traded goods and news. Fear was not an abstract thing anymore. It had teeth. It had a rhythm, hunting daily in Gavaden. The king's patience wore thin. Money and men were sent again, hunters and trackers whose faces were furrowed with worry rather than bravado. New traps were set. Meat and bait hung at the edge of the forest, and watchmen doubled their shifts. Yet the beast slipped past every snare, studied every ambush, and left only ruin as proof it had been there. Each failure carved the villagers' hope away a little more. Rumors turned to grudges. Neighbors accused neighbors of hiding dark knowledge. Priests argued with secular leaders, each blaming the other for not saving souls or lives. In taverns men muttered about curses, about strangers seen walking near dawn with blood on their boots. Children were kept inside until they forgot the taste of the day. Amid the chaos, a different sort of man arrived, quiet and worn, who did not come with the pomp of the king's men. He moved like a man who had watched death too close and learned to speak softly of it. He spent days walking the edges of the wood alone, studying the prints, feeling the wind in the hollows. Where others rushed in anger or fear, he kept his patience like a blade at his side. People watched him with suspicion at first, then with interest as he returned with notes and sketches of tracks no one else had bothered to trace. He spoke little but listened hard. He questioned the hunters about the patterns of the attacks, about which fields had been hit, which paths were avoided, and whether the beasts ever seemed to strike in pairs or alone. The villagers gave him small, frightened answers, then followed him when he asked to see the places themselves. The man proposed a plan no one had dared voice. Instead of chasing, they would outwit, bait the paths the beast preferred. Not with frantic meat, but with traps arranged like teeth around a chosen clearing. Men would hide in pairs, armed and ready, while dogs would be kept on a short line. The trap would not rely solely on muscle, but use patience, timing, and knowledge of how this thing moved. Desperation makes folk listen. The hunters, exhausted and raw with grief, agreed to try anything that might end the nights. They marked the hollow where the beast had paced, the place where the ground had been crushed by ungodly weight. Bave filled the nets and dug the pits and set the watch. Children were kept away, hushed with warm cloths over frightened mouths. At dusk the hiding places were taken, the lines drawn, the dogs quieted. Night with the sound and movement that had haunted them for so long. Somewhere in the hush a twig snapped, then another. The forest inhaled, the trap held, silent and ready.